Hey, welcome back. This is Maxim Cruz, and today we are going to be discussing real estate and investing using FHA loans and 3.5% down payment. So, because I am a licensed real estate broker as well as an investor, first of all, let me give you some disclosures. The information I'm going to be sharing with you is for information purposes only. This is not financial advice. This is not investing advice. I don't know what scenario you're in. I don't know where you live or what scenario personally applies to you. So this is for information purposes only, and I definitely advise you to work with the right professionals in order for you to do any sort of investing or anything that you're trying to do. So with that, let's get right into it. Let's answer your questions. If you haven't watched my other video where I compare buying versus rental, there should be a little pop-up here that will say, hey, this is where you could watch that video. So I recommend you go watch that first. This is part of actually a playlist of a series of how you can start investing in real estate using FHA loans. Now, why FHA loans? Well, first of all, it is the lowest form of down payment, 3.5%. Now again, no spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched that other video, go and check that out now. The type of properties that we're looking into are investment properties. These are properties that have monthly cash flow. Yes, they are rental properties. Now, FHA stands for First Time Home Buyers Association by HUD. Now, there are some rules and some requirements. One of those requirements that as buying as an FHA, buying with an FHA loan, you do have to live in the property for a certain amount of time. I believe it's still the first 2 years. But what does that mean? That means that you can get into up to a 4-unit property with 3.5% down. So anything from 2 units, 3 units, or 4 units, you can buy using 3.5% down. Now, I could definitely connect you with local mortgage professional and also local real estate brokers wherever you are in the United States. With over 13 years of experience, I have a good connection base in pretty much any city, and I'd love to refer you to somebody, a professional that can help you with all of this information. Now, before you go and meet with them though, let's get some basics. Can you buy an investment property with FHA? The answer to that is yes. By FHA standards, you can buy a 2 to a 4-unit property. Now that has a great advantage because you're actually buying cash flow, right? If your tenants are paying you every single month, that is going to help you pay your mortgage payment. What is the minimum credit score? Now, as of the recording of this video, I am not a mortgage professional. I'm actually a real estate broker, but my residential mortgage professionals have informed me that as of today, the minimum credit score standards are 580. Now, there are certain things that you can actually do to help boost your credit score, and we actually have a whole other playlist that talks about credit, so you can go ahead and check that out, as well as we also have a website set up for you, so if you need help disputing any negative accounts or any erroneous accounts off your credit report, make sure you check that out in the description below as well. So to qualify for 3.5% down payment, you need a minimum of a 580 credit score as of this time. That might change. Now, there is one disadvantage that I personally see with FHA loans, and that is called PMI, Private Mortgage Insurance. Pretty much what does that mean? That means that this is a separate insurance policy that you are paying upfront, and then you're also paying monthly when you take these type of loans because it's more risk to the bank, right? Even though these loans are actually secured by HUD, and there's also Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae loans available using FHA, you still have to pay this insurance premium because if you default, let's say 6 months into the loan, the bank wants to guarantee their money. So typically the PMI, I think it's like 1.75%. Again, we could check with your local mortgage professional to verify this. And then it's anywhere between 0.45% up to 1.05% on a monthly basis that you're paying for that premium. Now, the disadvantage of that is, again, it's an added expense that you're paying on a monthly basis for this insurance, but there's actually today, there's a couple things that you could do with that. If you bought a property using an FHA loan prior to June of 2013, sorry, I had my notes here. If you bought that property prior to June of 2013, pretty much what it allows you to do is once you reach 78% of your loan to value, which means you've already paid off, a bulk of that property's mortgage, your principal and interest, once you reach that 78% of the loan to value compared to the original purchase price, then your PMI can actually be, stopped and you no longer have to pay that. Unfortunately, if you buy your loans today, or if you bought a property using an FHA loan after June of 2013, the only way that you could do it is by refinancing. So if you have some equity in your home, which you should, if you bought in 2013, by now you should have some equity, you can refinance in order to get rid of that PMI. I wouldn't necessarily take the cash out unless you're going to reinvest it somewhere else. But again, I'm not giving you any financial advice. This is just what I would do. The only reason that I would take cash out is if I had another property that I was going to buy with that cash, which you should do, which is things that we'll talk in the next series. But again, the only other way for you to do it is to buy with a conventional loan, which is typically doing 20% down. So with that, the next video actually is going to be regarding investments basic terminology. Now, I do want to keep this specific to FHA loans and using FHA loans as investing. So some of the information on there might be a little bit basic, but at least I want you to get a good example of the terminology so you can get to know. So once we start to analyze the different properties that I will do here going forward on a weekly basis, we're going to have multiple properties that we analyze and show you how you can buy these properties using an FHA loan and if they actually make sense by the numbers. So once we get into that, you'll have this video to refer back into, as well as the investments terminology that you can go back and say, hey, what is NOI, the net operating income? Or what is cap rate? How do I figure out cap rate? Or what are the other things that I should be looking for, okay? So with that, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Again, make sure to check out those links in the bottom, and there'll be a playlist of other videos where now we'll dive into the investment basics terminology. With that, have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next video.